Different view of the river here I've never seen before. So we're getting close to where the American River meets the Sacramento River. It's a really nice park here. So I'm near Discovery Park, which usually costs $7 to park, and there's lots of space everywhere, but I didn't realize that off of Burkett there's a 2-hour parking zone where it's okay to park for free. And this is where the two rivers meet. Just a little west of the Jaboom Street Bridge. This is really cool being here for the first time in my life, even though I've lived in Sacramento most of my life and never knew about this location where the two rivers meet. Okay, this is the Jaboom Street Bridge. Never been this close to it before. I've seen it. I've probably driven on it before, but never really from this vantage point have I seen it. And this is kind of where the turnoff is to Richards Boulevard. All right, so here I am. Never thought I'd be under the Jaboom Street Bridge. Just never knew how to get here before. But it's a nice, cool location, man. There's free parking near here that I guess nobody knows about. Don't want to get too close here to all this muddy stuff. But, wow, so there it is, where the two rivers converge. And here's another look, exactly where the two rivers meet, how they come together in a point. Sacramento River, American River. Kind of this spiritual feeling of being here where the two rivers meet. Keep in mind the American River, this part, you know, was man-made back in the 1800s after a big flood, and it was to divert the river away from downtown so it wouldn't flood downtown anymore. And so they made it connect with the Sacramento River. So very, very natural looking and beautiful, and it's just great to be here. So I want to talk about how nature is better than everything. I mean, including the internet. The internet is good for a lot of things, and I love it for its informational value. Of course, I have to use my own brain to sort through it to make sure that I'm double checking information and getting facts straight. There's a lot of goofballs on the internet, thanks to YouTube, has encouraged a lot of people who think they're going to get rich making videos online just by, you know, using keywords and all that stuff to try to get people to watch their videos, try to juice the algorithm, you know. I'm more like, I like to make videos of informative content where I'm not even thinking about YouTube's algorithm. That's why I never say, be sure to hit that like button and blah, 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 subscribe. I'm not trying to put anything like that together. I'm just trying to make cool videos where people can check it out. If they know me, that's cool. Then they find out what the latest stuff I'm doing and what I'm thinking. If someone never has heard of me and has no clue who I am, they can still get information out of this video from this unknown guy at the river. So I want to talk about how a lot of YouTube people who get millions of views, that the reason they do is because they were already tied into some big network before they came to YouTube. You look at Joe Rogan, one of the top guys on the internet doing podcasts. You can't do that without being already connected to a big audience. So he had a TV audience back in the 90s. He was on NBC, and before that he was on MTV. So he came from a pretty well-to-do family. His dad was an architect and grew up in New Jersey, and I guess struggled maybe on his own financially for a while until he started becoming a stand-up comic on the road. And once you do that, and you're successful, you can build up a network of thousands of people, just traveling the country. So that's what he did. That's one example of how someone already has a big audience when they start a YouTube channel or whatever, podcasts somewhere on Spotify or whatever. I mean, if it's going to be big, a lot of times it comes from people who already have a lot of money, or they already are connected to the entertainment industry, or they build their bridges slowly with the industry and build up a big network. So YouTube's algorithm favors these network people who already have built their own networks before they came to YouTube. YouTube itself, I don't think, builds these massive networks of people. I don't think the algorithm is that cool to let some unknown person like me suddenly get 1 million views on something. Their algorithms favor people that are already popular through other media, and I learned that by studying a lot of this stuff, just going through the top podcasters and seeing where they all came from. One of them, Kim Iverson, used to work at Quad, where I worked in Sacramento. I was the program director, and she came years after I was there. I left in '96, and she was there in the 2000s doing, I guess, news or something. She was going to UC Davis at the time. After Quad, she got a nationally syndicated radio show, so that was a big audience that she could parlay into a later YouTube audience. Now she has a very popular podcast, and I watch it from time to time, and some of it's interesting, but some of it is just to keep the podcast going with all kinds of content that I think is, full of questionable information. I don't think she's that deep of a researcher to be a thorough fact checker like I am. I think she has a lot of interesting guests on her show, and that helps. But I don't like to devote like a half hour or an hour of my time to something that doesn't really give me new information. Like I like videos that fill my brain with relevant stuff. I don't like conspiracy theories that go nowhere. I like conspiracy facts that shock people. The JFK assassination has plenty of conspiracy facts to where the story they gave us, the national narrative, wasn't true.
And just like many other national stories are full of bull, because we're just told either by the government or the big dumb media stuff that isn't true. And keep in mind, big dumb media, the reason they would not tell us stuff that we need to know is either because they're compromised by the government or corporations, one or the other. They're never, they don't have a spine, they're soulless. So that's what I know for a fact about big dumb media. And so the river is a great place to get away from all that, especially if you've consumed too much media. I myself do not consume a lot of big dumb media, but I do consume a lot of YouTube media, and I don't like it when conspiracy chasers are just telling me crap just to get me to watch their garbage. I like good research that is full of information I could use. I do not like stuff that just uses up my time just so that the podcaster can brag that they got clicks, views or whatever. I think YouTube needs to overhaul its whole algorithmic system that cheats real knowledge and replaces it with fluff. That's what I see, is a lot of fluff gets millions of views, but real knowledge, you really got to dig for it really deeply. So here's my song about the river, getting away and freeing your mind. It's called Scene on the Riverside. I love to go to the river. It frees my mind and it's soothing. I love to go to the river and witness nature's beauty. So let's meet at the riverside and share what's going on. Send messages worldwide that we care to carry on. At the scene on the riverside, at the scene on the riverside. Well, I don't wanna play that game anymore, but leaving it up in the air. A place and a future that to regret, and it doesn't get us anywhere. Not where we could have been. We set it up so we couldn't win. We need to start all over again. The scene on the riverside, at the scene on the riverside. We need to start all over again. In the sun and wind, let's start all over again and let a new green world begin. At the scene on the riverside, at the scene on the riverside, at the scene on the riverside, at the scene on the riverside.
the scene on the riverside, at the scene